So we got to talk about life and things, right?
Like, fill your cup first. Always. I will never pretend to be perfect, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm growing with you. Because I grew up thinking my parents knew everything, and now as an adult, I'm like, y'all didn't know shit.
Right.
Low key. Like, yeah, like
those dream dates are the best dates.
the whole energy thing. We die. This is still there. Dreams are the unintentional travel to the astral. What is real? And you really have to be careful what you're listening to when you go to sleep, because you're like.
But in your dreams, do you see pictures or not?
Some people don't have an inner monologue, and I have that for sure.
Yeah.
I have.
I'm gonna go like I've got multiple voices in my head, like everyone talking to me.
All right. So I would turn my camera around to show you my little setup. I have my vision board behind me and, you know, everything that inspires me, my crystals. But this little girl right here, look at her. I don't know if you can see her.
Is she the little girl?
The little Robin.
I see her. Is that you?
Yeah, she's me. And I just look at her and I'm like, I got you. We're doing this. I don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it. Yeah. So she's right here. She is in the podcast with us. Yeah.
Do you want to know something? I keep a picture of myself. It's a picture from high school. And every once in a while, I literally look at that picture and I talk to that Michael and I say, okay, here's all the things that you should have done. And I want to be able to talk to you so that you get them in your mind and they transfer it to the future to me, you know? And I do that like all the time. I don't know if it helps, but I feel better.
It does. This podcast I was listening to, this chick said that she talks to her inner child and she's like, hey, I got you. And she said that because we're living in parallel realities, like it's all sandwiched in, that she believes that as she is talking to her little inner child, that this inner child is still going to grow up in this reality and then grow into a better version of what a more healed, healthier version. And so as she heals this little girl, that life of whatever is going on in this, she's going to, you know, thrive in a way
I believe that. I do. I really, if even in the worst case, if nothing else, you're telling yourself how to be better, right? In other words, you're training your current self, you know?
Yeah. And then in the worst case, but then in, you know, just hypothetically, if it is that we are actually holding space for that little child, what an amazing life, you know, that will be for that child to grow and prosper. Because I feel like there's things I could have changed and done different and wish that someone would have held space for me or my parents would have been this or that. But now I can be that for her.
Yep.
And who's she going to be now?
What would you tell if you look at that picture and you go like, okay, I'm implanting this memory, what would you tell your smaller self?
Oh man, girl, you worry too much about what people think and you are amazing. I just feel like even still, so I still hold on to, I'm a people pleaser. And so I hold on to how everyone else feels instead of me, but then I'm left empty. So don't fill your cup first. Always.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to leave someone on the wayside to fill your cup up.
So when, you see, you've got like a unique opportunity, right? Because you have your kids, right? And you can actually kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Basically channel what you're just saying about talking to past Robin into them. Do you ever think of it that way, or do you ever do that?
Yeah, and I heard something else on a different podcast. It's the age of the children that you have. So children are basically just this amazing opportunity to heal the versions of the age of the child that you were. So if you have friction with your child at that age, that's only because you have friction with yourself at that age.
Oh, wow.
Where you felt you weren't being listened to. And so it's a really cool way to portal in to different versions of yourself through these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So is that where
cool.
like the
It's
soccer
also
moms come from? And they're like, wait, you're going to be a soccer star? No matter what? Like, what are the things that
no,
you teach them?
yeah, I think like the sports dads, the dads that are like, get out there. I think
Yep.
it's because they always wanted to be out on that field and they never felt like they had it. And so they're trying to live their dreams through their kids. But I think as this each generation evolves, we're starting to become more awake to know that, it's like being present in this energy and knowing like, because, back in the day, parents are like, oh, I'll spank you. You go upstairs, you stand in the corner, you listen to what I say. I'm the parent, I'm the grown up. Now it's like, now for me, with mine, I'm like, I will never pretend to be perfect. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm growing with you. However, don't disrespect and we can work together. But let's talk about things. Well, my parents never said that.
Does it like
So it's an
scare you
evolution.
when you talk to your kids and you go like, I don't know, and then they are expecting you to know?
No, it frees me. It's freeing because I grew up thinking my parents knew everything, and now as an adult, I'm like, y'all didn't know shit.
Right?
And now that I can tell my kids, like, we're doing this together. I always say before I drop the kids off, not every day, but one kind deed for the day, and don't take any shit.
Okay.
So be kind, but also don't be too kind to where you take someone's shit. Like, buck up, but do something nice.
I think that whole
My
doing
parents
something
just,
nice, like I think it takes people by storm. Like people don't expect somebody to just come into, say, a restaurant and you see them sitting at a table and you go, "Oh my God, I love your hair," you know, or
yeah.
or can I get
I love complimenting women. Oh, that's my favorite thing to do is compliment women because they're like, huh?
right?
They don't expect it.
No, they
Yeah.
don't. And it doesn't matter what the thing is. I think sometimes like you'll see people, maybe they're insecure about something they're wearing, or they
Yeah.
don't know what they're buying in the store. They don't know this. And you just say, "Oh my God, I wish I could do that as well as you just did it." And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, thank you." And to me, I do it because it's almost like it makes me feel good. And so if I
Yeah.
can feel good and make
It's
the
a
world
big
feel
give and
good, that's
take.
it. Yeah. So I
I
do that.
love that too. I'll say, because I'm really big about hair. I wish I had like long, thick, like luscious locks. And when I see someone, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, can I have your hair?
Uh-huh.
And you see just one little kind, or, taking someone's shopping cart for them and putting that, just little things like that.
Yep.
They go further than monetary stuff. However, I will say that I waited tables and was in like the service industry forever.
Uh-huh.
And so I really got a feel of all different types of people. People that tip well, people that act like they're going to tip well, people that do tip well, people that drink too much. And now that I'm out of it, anytime I'm being waited on, I always over tip because I know these are some struggling young adults or adults. And I
Mm-hmm.
always over tip because you don't know what they're going through and what bill they have to pay and what that extra 20 would do. I love that too.
Yeah. There's a whole show we could do on tipping around the world and tipping in the
Yeah.
US and stuff like that. But I tend to try and give good tips, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also think that restaurant owners should actually pay their people, and there's a whole tipping
Oh
thing
my
there.
gosh, what is up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how could any industry, I guess, other than
It's slave.
server,
It's modern day slave. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
13 an hour.
Yeah.
You have to beg for it's sales, for your tips.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's a fair system. Now, in some restaurants, you can make bank. If you're at a
Oh
high end
yeah.
restaurant, I mean, you
Mhm.
don't hear those people complaining about tips.
I worked at the stadium, the Cowboy Stadium. I bartended at the stadium,
Did you really?
You still only get $2.13 an hour. You work for tip. I think maybe it's $4 an hour. But man, some days, I mean, I was 8 months pregnant working the George Strait concert. And
Uh-huh.
that was the biggest tip day. I came home with almost $1,000. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I
Right.
needed it, but
Who doesn't?
you work for it. It's a
Yeah.
modern day. It's the same thing I told my therapist after my dogs, when I was like, you're just an emotional prostitute. I think that's the same thing as like these service industry. You're just like being nice for money.
I know.
I don't know.
So, okay, so as long as we're talking about tips, because I have had this question in my head forever. So, what is the difference between if I go into a low end restaurant and order a hamburger? Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say, for example, it costs, I don't know, $10 for the hamburger and a drink and some fries. Okay. And then I go into a high end restaurant
Yeah.
and I order a hamburger, a drink, and fries, and it comes out to $30. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're tipping on percentage of food cost. Why are we tipping on percentage of the food cost instead of whether or
Yeah.
not you got good service or not?
So that's a really good question, because the service may even be better on the lower end
Right.
burger. The lower end, you're paying for the ambiance. So you're tipping on a percentage of the ambiance. And maybe that waiter was not even as present as the one who was like super friendly at this other place.
Yeah.
But I always overtip. I don't ever do. Yeah. But it isn't a fair system, actually.
No.
And the fact that, all of these service industry workers, bartenders, waiters make $2 an hour is crazy
Yeah,
to me.
it is. So it's something that you're like when your boys came home and said, "Mom, this is what I did today to be nice." Have you got any?
I think, gosh, I think one of them said that they held a door open for a teacher or something. I can't remember. It's few and far between, because I don't do it as often as I used to when they were little. Now that they're teenagers, it's like they're like, eh. But I think one day one of the kids said that somebody dropped his books and he helped him pick them up.
There you go.
So, and also on the flip side of that, the don't take no shit thing.
Mhm.
My middle kiddo, I picked him up early and the principal came out and he said, Maddox is actually in the principal's office. The teacher, so he was in class and one of the teacher at the desk didn't care that he was on his phone. Everybody was just talking and doing their own thing. But another teacher came in and said, well, you're not supposed to be on your phone. Give me your phone. And Maddox was like, no, I'm not giving you my phone. I'm not going to pay to get my phone back. And so at that point, I pulled up to pick him up. And so the principal met me and was like, Maddox was in the office. He wouldn't give up his phone. And, so I talked to Maddox. I go, why were you on your phone? He's like, because everybody was on just not doing anything. This teacher came in. She's not even part of the class. And they wanted my phone. And I said, no. And so I was like, low key dabs. Like, yeah, like he goes, I knew you wouldn't be mad. And I said, it's a time and a place. You have to read the room, read the energy.
Yeah.
And so the fact you didn't give it up, I'm like, I'm kind of proud of you.
Right.
Standing up for the system.
So, like, when do you know that, like, the kids should do that? Like, when do you say, like, it was good that you broke this rule, right? You say,
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, I always tell them the key to, so their dad is very like 3D matrix. You go to class, you don't miss, you do your homework, your grades. Well, I'm on the flip side of that, because especially after COVID and I just kind of really got an awakening. I'm like, whoa, I went into a big Dolores Cannon thing about our purpose here is to manipulate the energy around us, to read the room. I said, I don't care about grades. I really don't. At the end of the day, you do what you do and you get what you get. What I love about the system, the school, is that you get to meet all different kinds of people and know who to be cool with, who to stand up to, who to stand up for. And then, I love that kind of intertwining because that's what life is about. And so I just think that that's the most important thing for me for that to tell them. It's manipulation of energy. Read the room. Where do you hold back your energy? Where do you hold back your tongue? And where do you say, no, I'm not doing that? I think that's life. That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I love talking to you because you and I talk about energy a lot, about
Yeah.
things that happen. I've got dreams that I should tell you about, but we've got, yeah, I had the best girlfriend in a dream the other day. It was amazing. Um,
I want
and
to hear.
that's what she said. I know.
You're like, that was like, no, that's what she said.
No, I'm not talking about that. It was just like this was a dream where it was all about relationship and connection, and we we got along just perfectly. And the way that we actually met in the dream was there were three or four of these girls that were hanging out on a rooftop, and I don't know why I was on a rooftop. And all of a sudden, um, one of the girls approached me. I was like, "Yeah, not interested," just because I'm doing my own thing, right? Because introvert, that's what you do. You do
Yeah.
your own thing. And then
Yeah.
this finally, I don't know how the last girl got in touch with me. I have no idea. And like all of a sudden, it was like instant bond. And I'm like, wow, this is fun. And since Michael in real life has not had a girlfriend for like who knows how many years, um, all of a sudden I was like, okay, this could be really cool. And I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. And so the whole rest of the dream, we were like exploring things, doing things,
Oh,
and
I love
being
those.
together. And it was like the perfect bond. And then all of a sudden, my alarm clock goes off. And
The worst.
yeah, however, I've set my alarm clock up now so that every time it rings, it doesn't buzz or yell at me anymore. I've got it playing the song "Grateful" by oh my god, Call Me Stevie Ray and what's his name, Price. But and it wakes up, it says I woke up feeling grateful,
Oh,
thankful.
I like that.
Everything that I prayed for came, so I'm feeling so grateful.
Ooh,
Every day, that's what I wake up to, and I listen to it for 2.5 minutes, and then I hit snooze, and it plays it again in 10 minutes.
that is so smart. I love that you have that because my alarm clock is that stupid one that's on the iPhone, and I'm like, screw you. But the
Yeah.
whole dream thing, there's a handful of dreams that I'll never forget. But one of them, and I even wrote it down and I wrote a poem about it. But I was in this, it was when I was with my soon to be ex. I just moved back in with him and I was sleeping, and I guess he had gotten up for work and taken a shower or something. But I was dreaming that I was in this dim lit bar at a booth by the main bar, and he was sitting across from me. It wasn't my ex, it was some man.
Hmm.
And I just remember like beautiful teeth, like just smiling. And I remember when he looked at me across this booth and he smiled, I remember my heart. And this is before I was into chakra system, so I didn't know it. But I just remember my dream when he smiled at me, like this part of and I was like, and I just felt so, oh my God, I'm in love with this person. And then I just remember thinking, God, I'm so in love. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I started crying because I was like,
Yes.
wait, that's not real. I was so sad. And then I tried to go back to sleep to redream it and I couldn't. But I wrote, I don't even know where it is, but it's in a journal. But the first part of the journal entry was, I dreamed about you last night. I know you're on the other side waiting for me. I know you're there.
Hmm.
And we're here on this weird journey in the matrix. But in that dream, I felt so strongly that this person, this energy, whatever it is, I was like, we're battling this like life journey individually, but like you're there. I've never felt that feeling before, that in that dream. It was like,
Right. It's like relationships and dreams. I don't know if your one is dreaming about dreaming, or if there's an actual,
is that
connection on
really
an astral
happening?
plane, or if it's
Yeah.
somebody that you're going to be in your future. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, those dream dates are the best dates.
Oh my gosh, it was the only time I really ever had. I have had one other one. But last night, the night before last, actually, I had a dream about my friend Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've had, we talked to the psychic in that podcast, and I asked her about Crystal, and then I had a dream about her shortly after. Well, 2 nights ago, I had a dream about her that we were with my Mexican side of the family, and we were having a party, and it was like Tejano themed. And I was trying to find Crystal, and she's the life of the party. Like beautiful, just always bright and shiny. And I remember trying to find her because I was like, Crystal, we got to take a picture because we're going to all throw our sombrero at the same time. And like, it was just crazy. She was there in that dream. And I woke up and I'm like, what was she trying to tell me in that, because I know she's the whole energy thing. We die. This is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she was there in my astral travel.
So do you believe in dreams more, or do you believe in astral? Is it the same thing, or are they two different things, you think?
I think that dreams are the unintentional travel to the astral, especially with people who aren't awake. I do know that people can actually meditate and go into astral, just like they can remote view.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with us who are like more of a sleepwalker before we're awake, when we dream, we're in the astral. Sometimes it's a scary astral, but we're there. You know?
CIA did a whole thing on it, right? On astral and remote viewing.
The hemisync. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a whole. It's crazy.
Yeah. If I could pick another superpower besides my being able to forget movies, astral would be cool.
That's so funny. You forget movies.
I forget movies as if I've never seen them before. I actually, because when I eat dinner or lunch or anything, I sit at my counter. Yeah. And so I turn on my little cell phone and prop it up. And right now, because I want something that I don't have to really pay attention to, but I like, I'm watching Justice League cartoon.
The cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon. Like where everyone has V bodies that are like that perfect V body, and like, wow, Superman's got it going on, Wonder Woman, everybody's like perfect, right? And it's annoying me right now because every episode starts out with somebody getting their butt kicked, and they're like tearing down buildings, and they're beating up people with steel pipes, and nobody bleeds, which is like pretty awesome.
Nobody bleeds. Oh my gosh.
Bleeds, nobody
dies. You would notice that. You're like, where is the blood in this?
Yeah.
Are you even real?
Yeah.
What is real?
I don't know. And it amazes me that this happens. So but I figured out that I have seen this before, because all of a sudden I'll go like, oh, I've seen that. But I don't remember why I've seen it, because I can't remember actually having watched the show before.
It's your whole like real life, actual living deja vu. Like it's because you're present in the moment. You go on autopilot.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really do think so, because there are things that will happen, and I know I did them, but I'm not sure that I did them. Yeah, and when it gets to be really dangerous, it's when you don't remember if you took your medicine or not. It's like, did I take blood pressure medicine?
I know.
It's like, I don't know. So
I think that's why the older people have the pill boxes, like Monday, Tuesday, Monday 1, Monday 2.
Yeah,
you can't remember.
I think so. Oh my god.
Was it you that was telling me about who was it? I was talking to somebody about dementia. Who was it that I was talking about dementia?
I'm pretty sure we probably have talked about dementia, but since I don't remember, go ahead.
Whoever I was talking to was saying that people like, I'll just say in my own hula hoop here, people like me, like my brain is never off. I'm always thinking, I'm overthinking, and my gears are turning. Like I've got 12 funnels all the time. And because my brain is always so busy, that their theory was that the reason people get Alzheimer's and dementia is because you know, a rotor can only turn so many times before, like, it's just, and so it gives your body an opportunity to just dial down. Okay, now it's time to just not. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's when dementia happens. Like, your brain is getting gonna get to rest before you are going to rest this meat suit and go on to your astral travel, ether, spirit. Yeah.
No, you did not talk to me about that, but you did just like spark a memory. I listened to Hospice Nurse Julie on TikTok. Do you ever have you
Oh,
seen her?
I need to add her.
Oh my
No,
God. She like
I'm gonna
she's in
add her.
hospice and she talks to people about death and dying. And I just listened to her and then what was it? I forget the actual terms that she used. But basically she talks about people
There she
seeing
is.
their
I'll add her.
pets and relatives before they die and being happy about it. And she knows when they're going to die, not to the minute or anything like this, but she says she sees all the signs of when somebody is letting go and them getting peaceful because they
Is
are,
it because they're like, my husband's here, or my daughter, my
yeah,
dog?
the death stare. That's what they call
Wow.
it, death stare, which is not a beautiful
Aw.
name, but it's like people just looking off and it's like, oh, things are okay. And they're waiting for me. And she
Aw.
describes it, and I'm like, wow, I hope that's exactly how I go, as opposed to like, over the cliff in the car. Um,
Seriously, which is some of the dreams I've had are like that. But, here in this realm or whatever the heck we're in, we think death is scary. It's awful, especially for the ones left behind. We're the left behind group. We're
yeah.
like mourning. We're mourning, which is another. Let's get into another topic, another day of like words and good morning. Why do we say good morning when we're mourning a death? Why do we mourn the morning and mourning a death? Anyway, so when we're mourning and this person's already like just checked out, like I'm free, fuck this place,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, but it's such a beautiful. It should be how they do in New Orleans, where it's a celebration of life. It's a parade where it
Mhm.
shouldn't be. It's probably sad because maybe subconsciously, unconsciously, we know they're free and we're not. We're like
You
stuck
know,
here.
I want to actually go with the whole party thing, right? Like it is a
I do
party
too.
and we want to go. And I think the only reason that we as humans don't go with, or most of us anyway, don't go with the whole party attitude is because we don't know what's coming afterwards. So,
The fear. Where did
right.
they go? What happens to them? What happens to me? It
What
kind
happens
of
to
like,
us? Exactly.
yeah, like who's next? I always think like this is maybe a little bit morbid, but I always think who's next, and because I have a big family, like my cousins. Excuse me,
Right.
but I always think who's next? Who's next? Or even at a macro scale, when a celebrity dies, I'm like, I wonder who's next.
Yeah.
Like after this, who's the next one?
There's a,
Is that weird?
no, not at all, because someone told me about, and I can't remember where this comes from. It's a famous author or song or poem or whatever. But basically, you look at your parents as they're the blockage, they're the to the grave. In other words, for the most part, it's not your turn until they die. It's not their turn until their parents die. So if you still have grandparents, it's like, yep, I got time. But as soon as they drop off and next it's your parents, and then you
Mm-hmm.
lose one, then you lose the second one. And it's like, crap, there's nobody in front of me now. I'm the
Yeah,
next
like I'm
one.
up on the roller coaster. I'm the one at the front of the roller coaster.
Right? You're at the front. And so like your kids, they're in order. It's like youngest, middle, largest, or oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yep, all those people are ahead of me. So I've got
I
time.
had this crazy dream again about Crystal. It was shortly after she died, and she died by a drunk driver, and it was traumatic. But the dream was that her and I were in a car together, and I couldn't. We were driving fast, and the car wouldn't stop, and like I
Hmm.
couldn't press on the brakes; it wasn't working, and we hit a brick wall, and then we both died on impact. And when we died, we shot up like our spirits. I felt myself go shoo, shooting up into whatever this is, the ethers, the sky. And I remember going at lightning speed. And I remember thinking while I was shooting up with her, I'm going to get to see my grandma, which she's not dead yet. My grandma's still alive. But it was weird how I felt all of that in my dream, you know?
Oh, wow. Okay, I will tell you that I have never died in a dream. Like, no, never. So there's some
I
people
was
that
the
believe
only,
if you die in a dream, you're going to die in real life. Like, maybe you're not waking up.
yeah.
But yeah, I've never died in a dream. I've been scared out of my mind in a dream. I've been chased by demons, and I've also seen God and been able to be in multiple places at once in a dream, which was like the best dream I've ever had. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't imagine. What's the best dream
I
you've
never
ever had?
thought, it's so weird that you just said that because when people say I've never died in a dream, I would be like, me either. But now I guess in that dream I did die. I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, well, I guess I have. And I was still alive though, which was weird. Maybe that's why I didn't think I died, but I did. I went on impact and then shot up. It was crazy. Yeah. Weird.
I
Life is
think
weird.
that I in my dreams, like sometimes I try and direct them. I don't know if you ever try and do that and say, okay, in this dream, this is what I
No,
want to do and be. I always
I
want to
can't
come up.
ever do that.
I try. Sometimes it works, but you know what? Most of the time, any dreams that are directed, I find come because I
Mhm.
watched a TV or I read a book or I saw something, and then my dream is based on that thing. It's
Yeah.
usually not a traumatic thing that happened in my life. It's just a thing that I saw right before I went to sleep.
Or have you ever? So I have this sleep band with ears, like earbuds in the
I
sleep
want to get
band.
that. You sent me the link. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I so need it.
So I listen to stuff, and sometimes I mean, you really have to be careful what you're listening to when you go to sleep because you're like, like because sometimes I'll listen to something on YouTube and it's like calming, and then you don't know what the next thing's what your algorithm's gonna pop up next, and I'm like, I'm in a war zone in World War II, and who is this man?
Yeah.
But I was just like triggered into this remembrance of this. Yeah, dreams are weird, and also I got into a lot of Brian Scott, which I tried to share to you the other day for that CIA government stuff about HemiSync. But I
Hmm.
listened to a lot of Brian Scott. You'd like him. But one of the things that he was talking about, and you go to sleep and you meditate on, so people can lucid dream on purpose. So,
I would love to.
yeah. And so one of the things that I was meditating on, I was in the media room. It was like 5 in the morning. I woke up. I'm like, let me try this because you can go into the astral on your own. And supposedly we're attached by a silver cord, our
Hmm.
spirit. So so it was 5 a.m. And I was like, let me just try this. Everyone's asleep. And I got to a point where I had peeled myself out of my body and I was looking at my hands and they're big and fuzzy like static, but they're black and big and fuzzy like colory static. And I got off of the media, like the couch, and I was about to step out. I just remember looking at my hands like this and I was like, what the heck? And then I was about to step out and then one of my kids was like, Mommy! And I
Oh,
just like,
dang.
I know. I was like,
Dang.
dang it.
Oh,
Dang it.
I
Because I got to a point where I was like, this. It was so
now,
crazy.
do you think you were dreaming or were you like aware and awake and you could like
I was
get up and
awake.
go?
So I
God,
went into this, yeah, I was fully awake, but I was meditating. And he's like, okay, now you're going to slowly sit up and you're going to look at your hands. And I was awake and I was looking at
yeah.
my hands and I'm like, holy shit. And I was about to stand up and then the kid was like, Mommy! I'm like,
Yeah. Have
all
you ever been
dialed
able to
down.
do it since then? Like, can you do it?
I haven't tried. That kind of scared me. I was like, what would have happened? Where would I have gone after that? But I do want to try it. I think it's really interesting. But I've heard that you have to be really careful about traveling into the astral without protecting your energetic boundary because you can come upon entities and stuff out
I've
there in the
heard
astral.
that. I've heard that. And
Hmm.
like, okay, so I used to have a friend when I was in college, and we tried to like, okay, we're gonna do the astral thing, and I'll meet you on the steps of the library. And
Yeah,
okay, so now that
you
I
can do
know that
it.
you're into it, we're gonna try that. Like, we'll pick a
Yeah, I
time.
think
Like,
it's
okay,
so
I'm gonna
cool.
try it. You try it. Meet you at Roxy's or something like that.
Well, and that's the whole thing with remote viewing. So a lot of the CIA, they use people who can actually remote view, and that's how it all is like you can actually travel in astrally. You can travel in to see what's going on as like a spy measure. It's crazy.
The stuff you sent me. I know I looked at part of it. Remember superpower, and I find that fascinating. And it's one of the things I would love to be able to do. But now here's a question for you. And you and I both have another superpower. At least I consider
What
it
is that?
Aphantasia.
Aphantasia.
Where,
Yeah.
and for everyone who doesn't know, that is like people who have aphantasia don't imagine and see in color. Like you and I see nothing.
So it's like close your eyes
Yeah.
and think of an apple. Can you see that apple behind your eyelids?
No.
Not a thought. Do you see it?
No.
And some people see it. I actually talked to my therapist about that yesterday.
What did your therapist
say? He said he sees. I said, because I was trying to describe something, and I use analogies because I have aphantasia. And I said, so wait, before I go any further, the whole aphantasia, the reason I use analogies, and I said, he goes, I don't know what that is. And I go, close your eyes. When I say an apple, what do you see? And he goes, I see a Fuji apple. And I mean, he saw it in his mind. And I go, I don't see anything.
That is black. Unbelievable to me.
Nothing.
There are people I've talked to, and they're like, describe it. And to me, I just have to make up the description and like try and picture it, but there's nothing there.
You use your cognitive thinking. That's what aphantasians do. You use your cognitive. You know it. You know the thought of it, but you don't see it.
No. But in your dreams, do you see pictures or not?
Absolutely. So that's,
are they in color or black and white?
Baffles me.
Are your dreams in color or black and white? Me too.
Color, vivid, I'm there. And so it's crazy to me to think that people actually just close their eyes and think of something and they see in their mind as a dream.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that's like. When I close my eyes right now, all I see is the picture of the screen I'm looking at, and I see you. And eventually that fades, and then it's just...
Oh, you even see that?
Well, it's the light.
You see that?
In my eyes.
The only time I can ever see, how they're like, stare at the dot for a while, and I see the image where a dot I was staring at. Those the visualization games where it's like, stare at this dot for so long and close your eyes, and then you can see like an outline of a girl or Jesus or something.
But you know what?
That's the only time I see anything. Like if I close my eyes right now.
Well, no, it's not that that I see anything. It's just that people with eyesight have persistence of vision. It's the reason that we can watch movies, right? Because between the one frame and the next frame, our eyes still have a little image on the back of the retina for the previous frame. So if you like stare at your hand, it'll be in your head for just a second, and then you can close your eyes. It's still there, open, and it's gone.
All I see is like a square outline of my laptop, but it's like, that's it. I don't see you. That's cool that you can even see that.
Oh, I don't see in color. I just see the after image. It's like,
it's so crazy.
What is it? Yeah, it goes away like that. Okay.
I don't even see that. It's crazy. So it's like there are there's a whole spectrum. Yeah. And then I found out because of aphantasia that some people don't have an inner monologue. And I have that for sure. Yeah. I have. That one doesn't shut up.
Oh, do you talk to yourself in your inner monologue, or does it talk to you?
Yeah, and I talk to myself outside of my inner monologue. Like I'll be like, I'll have a whole conversation with her outside. Yeah, but
so like when you're
some
reading
people that have aphantasia.
When you're reading a book, what voices do you hear when you're just like reading to yourself?
Mine.
So you don't hear character voices?
No, but what's interesting
I don't either, by the way.
When I found out about aphantasia, my best friend, she can like create a whole thing as she's going to sleep, stacking rocks. We also started talking about inner monologues. It isn't, so it's just me in my head.
Uh-huh.
There's no other people in there. She's got like 10 different people, versions of her. And I'm like,
Wow.
this must be why back in the day they just committed people to psych wards, because they had different versions on the spectrum of what they thought, the inner monologue, the aphantasia. And they were like, this bitch is crazy. No, there's just different. She says that the 10 versions of her will be like having a whole conversation. I'm like, what?
There's no way.
It's just me. Is it you,
Really?
just you in there?
Yeah. When I
Yeah.
read books, it's like I want to hear an elf talk in an elf voice, but it's just me, just talking. you know, I got nothing. Hold on. What do I hear? Let's see. I'm gonna read the screen. Okay. No, it's just me.
Well, now, because you said that, I'm making myself in my mind talking a British accent, but it's
Yeah.
just me in there.
Yeah. It
Weird,
doesn't
right?
matter. That's why I love audiobooks, right? Because one, I hate reading because my eyes hurt because I can't see because I'm basically legally blind. But I love readers that can do all the different voices. And I don't
Yeah.
like books where they have multiple actors doing voices. I like one reader doing multiple voices,
Yeah.
not actual at readers or actual actors, I should say.
I think you said something. Yeah, you said something to me the other day when I was reading one of my blogs that I guess maybe, I don't know. I read with inflection and I have like,
You do.
I make it a thing, but I think it's just because maybe it is the aphantasia thing. I want people to experience the whole event. Or
Yeah,
maybe
I
I'm just
think
dramatic.
now when you actually read, you're reading, like I read your stuff and I can kind of hear, ooh, I do hear your voice
Mm-hmm.
when I read your stuff, but that's because I know what you sound like.
Ooh, yeah.
But when you read it, I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to sound like.
That's so interesting that you said that, because when I read text messages from people, I hear it in their voice. So that's crazy.
Hold on.
Like I read it as they're talking to me.
Yeah, I gotta check that out now. Let me see. I'm gonna
Like
read
just
yours.
pull up any random text.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm pulling up a text message.
Are you reading it in their voice? Oh my God. That's so interesting. Like my kid
Oh,
just texted me, Charlie's coming home with us. And I read it in my mind. It's his voice in there.
oh, this is too scary.
That's interesting.
All right, we're gonna let that
What?
go. I'm just gonna let that go. Too far.
You don't like it?
I
You
don't.
reached the pinnacle, Robin.
No, because now I'm gonna go like, oh, I've got multiple voices in my head and I hear them talking to me. So
Yeah, it makes me feel like a beautiful mind. I'm like, does any character in my life actually exist, or I'm just in a like pod and a straight jacket, like thinking I'm doing this life?
oh
And
my
like,
god. No.
I know.
Here.
See, welcome to my world.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me in. I really appreciate now that I'm crazy. There we go. If you could write a love letter to yourself, what's the one thing that you would thank it for?
If I could write a love letter to myself, and the one thing I would
What's the one
like,
thing you would thank you for?
my resilience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. To be able to continuously bounce back, knowing that it's not ever going to be easy, but I got it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. I like
Yeah.
that. Let's say you had the power to create a new Valentine's Day tradition. Um, what would it be?
Give your biggest Valentine's gift to someone that you hate.
Like, okay, where's
Because I think
forgiveness coming to this?
that would like flip the system. Like give your biggest gift, your most lovingly thoughtful gift to someone that you absolutely cannot stand.
Really? Okay,
Because
and
I
then
think it would like turn the dial. It would like flip the whole funnel.
are you gonna try that this year? Yeah, no. No.
Maybe next year.
Next year.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You just. Yeah.
It's
I
that will
should.
be a tough one, right?
Yeah. And that's tough because it's like I say that and I'm like, that would shift the system, flip the switch.
Yep.
But then I'm like, wow, would that flip the switch in me? Maybe that would turn the dial. Maybe that would make everything go backwards, rightwards.
Maybe, right? But I think to do that, there has to be some processing that comes first, right? You
But
got
I
to be
don't
ready
think
for it.
so. As our 3D in this world mind thinking, we think processing. But if we just do it, because I just had it out with my mom, that would be the one I
Yeah.
would give the Valentine to.
We have to talk
Oof.
about that one too, but we're going to do that on
Yeah,
another
I'm
show
like,
because,
oof,
yeah, we'll talk about that one. Um,
to be continued.
hmm. What's the most unexpected lesson that you've learned from a movie or TV or from a book?
This is so cheesy to say, like, and it's not, it's just in everything that you read, but like that, like love wins. Love wins.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a random thing. I mean, like it's something we all know, but it's also something that's very poignant in everything, but we all take it for granted. Like love, I love pasta. I love my dog. But like
Yeah.
love is this very powerful, high vibrational thing that we just really take for granted.
Yeah.
So
I
love
think
is
that
it.
is very, very true. Um, and I don't think that I appreciated that enough until my parents died. Because we
Yeah,
weren't the touchy feely, huggy family that always said "I love you." In fact, actually, I don't think it was
same.
ever said. And it was only after they both died I was like, "Yeah, my dad never said I loved you." Matter of fact, I think I
Isn't
told
that
you like
crazy? That's a whole generational thing, I think, too.
it is. It was like the whole men don't cry, men don't
Hmm.
emote. Um,
Love is
yeah,
so powerful.
yeah. So yeah, teach your kids to be loving. I would say,
Yeah.
no matter what. Um, Here's
Yeah.
one. If you go on a fictional date, because I had my dream date, okay, but let's say you go on a fictional date with any character
Hmm.
in literature or book or movie or anything, who would it be and why would you want to go with them?
I mean, like, I can pick a movie
Yeah.
star.
Any. I'll even let you go real life and not just fictional. Yeah.
Fictional. Well, I don't know. I don't read fictional books,
Well, okay,
so it would
movie.
have to be no. Like my number one forever and always. It's Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. Because
Have you
I'd
seen
say,
How to Lose? Oh God, yeah.
yeah, can you do a
Mm.
Matthew McConaughey impression?
All right, all right, all right.
Yes, you can.